This is Gary Stocker with College Viability. Let's go beyond the college brochure. If you were to wander through the apple orchards of Amherst, Massachusetts, you'd find a campus that has long prided itself on doing things a little differently. Founded in the mid-1960s, Hampshire College famously threw out the old playbook, no grades, no standard majors. They promised an experimental education where students could design their own learning and ultimately design their own lives. For decades, it was a sanctuary for the dreamers, the creators, and the non-conformists. And if you looked at the mailboxes of high school seniors early this year, it seemed the dream was more vibrant than ever. The acceptance letters were arriving, packed with handwritten postcards and warm phone calls from alumni. But more than that, they were packed with money. You see, the modern college search has become a game of curb appeal. Families look at the brochure, they look at the rankings, and then they look at the financial aid offer. And Hampshire College was throwing around money like they were a winner at a casino. One student, who didn't even ask for a scholarship, was suddenly handed a writing award that she didn't know existed. Over $53,000. Another high school senior from Boston opened an email to find a $60,000 windfall for something called the Humanitas Award. Now, let's keep in mind, these aren't actual dollars. They are tuition discounts. It is revenue a college is foregoing. And to the parents sitting at the kitchen tables, the logic was simple. A school that can afford to throw that kind of cash around must be in spectacular shape. The marketing was bright, the invitations were certain, and the families and their students and their children signed on the dotted line. But there is a secret in the front office of higher education that is rarely whispered in public. A scholarship isn't always a prize. It's not always a prize. Sometimes it's just a butt-in-seat strategy. The experts will tell you that when a campus is half empty, a student who pays something like just $2,000 is better than an empty desk. So these colleges invent an award. They hike up the tuition discount to 50 or 60%, sometimes more. And that college is buying the enrollment of students to put off the inevitable for one more semester. And while the admissions team was courting freshmen with handwritten notes, the ledger behind the curtain was an absolute train wreck. The school had missed its enrollment goals by nearly half. The Hampshire campus cafe was quietly shut down, and the debt continued to mount. And then, just as the final season hit in the spring of this year, the music stopped at Hampshire College. The college announced it was closing its doors for good, leaving its campus to be sold off to pay the banks. And we call it an ambitious revival. We look at the generous financial aid and we assume it's a sign of strength. But for the students at Hampshire College and many others, the experiment has ended in a crushing reality. The students were sold a mirage. One rising senior who spent 1,000 hours meticulously hand-sewing a historic 1660s gown for her degree is now moving out of her dorm, wondering if she can make it in the world without a diploma at all. And another student who had just 2 weeks to find a new home while working 3 jobs, and then only to find out that the state schools won't honor her out-of-state financial aid. And remember, back a few years ago, a previous board at Hampshire College voted to stop admitting students to protect those students from a financial cliff. But new leadership chose to double down. They chose to hide the foundation cracks behind a mountain of scholarship discounts, courting teenagers right up to the very week that the closure announcement was made. The parents of these students thought they were buying a customized future. But the mother of one student looked at the empty campus and realized the truth. They weren't buying an education. They were simply buying a ticket on a sinking ship. The college brochure promised a transformational journey. The reality was just a transactional trap. And now we have gone beyond the college brochure. I'm Gary Stocker with College Viability.